Today I'm going to be showing you how I build out my Sony FX3 using the CineBack. Now I could honestly say, since receiving this back in November, I prefer my FX3 build versus the Ergonomics with my FX6, so I want to show you how it is I rig it up. Now there's so many different ways that you can use the CineBack to have endless rigging options, and if they're playing with so many configurations, I really like this one that I'm going to show you today. So let's waste no more time. Everything's going to be listed in the description below, and if you want to check out those parts, just know those are Amazon affiliate links. So let's get started with the cage. Now Caleb recommends a specific cage, but I already had the original small rig half cage. The issue was there was a rail attachment that I had to shave off with an angle grinder, but by doing so, I was able to use the cage that I already had. I didn't have to buy one. So the first thing we want to do, like you've seen in his video, we're going to flip out the screen and we're going to start feeding it into the CineBack. Now there is that little safety pin that we're going to want to push down so we can get everything lined up. So what I'm doing is just lining everything up so I could get ready to mount the CineBack to the FX3. Let me know in the comments below while I'm building this out too. If you're waiting for yours to come in, I was lucky enough after seeing Caleb's review to get on it pretty early, and I'm telling you, this thing is an absolute game changer. Now, I've used this on a bunch of different commercial work. Just by having the additional D-tap ports, the dedicated power switch, I mean, it just feels like my FX6 or my Red Komodos, and it just makes it more robust and a lot more fun to use on set. Now, I like this small rig base plate because you're gonna see in a second, this thing's not going to come loose. I'm using 3 different screws to mount this base plate so there's no wobble or wiggle. One thing I can't stand on my rig setups, and I've done a ton on this channel, is just those plates wiggling around. So if we take a look at this base plate right here, you can see 2 on the top, 1 on the bottom, really nice. And now we can mount this guy right here. Next, I'm going to mount my 2 NATO rails. I like to have a monitor mount and a top handle, and I'm going to show you how this rig is going to be a little bit different than the other CineBack rig builds that you've seen on here, because I'm going with the old school reverse top handle, and the reason why is for balance, and you'll see that once we get this built a little bit more. But I just like my handheld rigs being nice and balanced. And then we have this little NATO rail that I'm going to stick in the back. All right, so let's get the top handle mounted. This has been my favorite top handle for years. It's by Small Rig, and it's like their red style top handle. It's been discontinued, and I've been looking for some more, like on eBay or Facebook Marketplace, and no one seems to get rid of them. And I wish they'd bring it back because I love the way this top handle is. Now, normally I'll mount my top handle in the front, have the handle going backwards with the monitor mount, but like I said, I'm building this rig for balance, and you're gonna see in just a second, it'll all make sense. Now, the next thing I'm gonna put on is my monitor mount. It's the Small Rig Hawk Lock system. I love these quick releases. They have them for different magic arms, monitor mounts, even just as a quick release in itself, and just how fast they work, how small they are, and how I've yet to ever have an issue. I just love the way they go on. And let me show you. So next up, we have our port keys, BM5 wireless 3 monitor. I love this thing. The tools are incredible. You can customize them in any way you want. And the 1000 nits of brightness, I could see everything. And I'm gonna show you how quick I could pop this monitor on and off. So we have a little lever back here, and I literally could press it and put it on and off, and this thing's not gonna come off. Like, that's pretty ballsy of me that I'm shaking it like that. It's not going anywhere. So we have our monitor, our top handle, our NATO rail set up. Let me just get everything centered up because I'm OCD like that. And so far, so good. Next up, we're gonna throw my battery on. It's a GDU battery, 98 watt, right there. Let's get the lens that I'm gonna be just showcasing this build with. It's the 50mm G Master f1.2. And then we're starting to look pretty good. Now, if I hold it right here at the top handle, she is nice and balanced. And this is what I want when I'm using a handheld rig. And we can even reposition this a little bit so that doesn't tend to slide down as much. And then, yeah, there we go. So far, so good. She's looking nice and compact, but we're not done. A couple more things to do. Next, I have this dummy battery. If you're gonna use one, I recommend the Condor Blue one just because it puts out the proper voltage from the battery to our camera. And then what I'm gonna do is take cables nice and tucked, not sticking out, can't see it. And so far, I'm loving this rig setup. It's looking really good and it's functional for how I use the camera on set. We have our right angle HDMI cable. I don't like the coiled ones, but I've ordered a bunch of different right angle to right angles, and I can't find the one that will go down. The ones that I've ordered, the right angle goes up, and then it's like all weird and funky, so it's just been driving me crazy. This is probably like the least favorite part of the rig, but when I show you the tie down that I have, it really won't get in the way that much. Now, like I mentioned, I like the CineBack because of the multiple D-tap ports. You can put focus motors, wireless transmitters, you could even power your monitor like I'm about to do. This way, everything's running off of this V-mount battery, one and done battery, and powers the whole rig essentially. Now that my D-tap to 4-pin LEMO is connected, what I could do is take this XL Mondo tie and I'm gonna mount it right here so that this could be nice and tight to the frame of the CineBack cheese plate. All right, so now that I have that XL Mondo tie, this cable is running on the top of the cheese plate. It's not flopping around or anything like that. What I also have is a small rig spring-loaded cable tie that I'm going to use to also help just get this thing somewhat organized. It drives me nuts. I really don't like the cable coil for the HDMI. That's probably the only thing on this build that I will update in the near future, but so far we have everything looking pretty good. It's nice and functional, it's nice and tight. We can hold it from here, we can hold it down low and point it around. Overall, this is just how I've been running my Red Komodos, Sony's, Blackmagic Pocket cinema cameras. Basically any rig or camera that I own has a similar rig build for my shooting style. Now, the last rigging piece that I'm going to be using is this cold shoe mount, and I put it on the back of my top handle. This is where I can slide my DJI wireless transmission system, have it feeding into here. I'll show it in the B-roll, being that I'm using it right now to record this video, just so that I can monitor audio, look down at the back of my handle, and see my levels while I'm on production. Lastly, for my CineBack build, I like to throw on a matte box, to cut out those flares or discrepancies. And then if I want to, I can always put my variable ND filter on the front. This is basically my rig setup. The nice thing about it is you can hold it down low, you can get low shots, we can rotate the monitor up and down. If we want, we could have it like this, nice and tight, like a gun stock. However you want to use it, the versatility is just really nice. The fact that we have more of a real cinema build out where we're powering our entire camera and its accessories off of one V-mount battery is just something I absolutely love. So this is my current CineBack rig build. Let me know in the comments below if you like it, if you have any suggestions on maybe the HDMI cable or something like that. Let's just chit chat about what it is that you're excited for when it comes to this CineBack. Now, I'm interested in that new top handle that Caleb has released. I usually have an audio guy on my set, so I don't really need that top handle, but I like the way it brings the whole rig together. However, it's the same price as the CineBack itself, so I just can't see myself spending a total of $600 plus for the CineBack and that top handle module. I don't personally think I'll use it, but I like the aesthetic and the functionality of it having those XLR options. So I'll maybe make an update video in the future letting you guys know if I purchase it and showing that rig build. Until next time, I'm Jason Anthony. I hope you enjoyed the video. Peace out.